Welcome to A Sleepover with Yuri. If you've ever been categorized as a minority, either for being an immigrant or LGBTQ or a person of color, well, guess what? You are in a majority on my show. And tonight, I'm so honored to have a sleepover with one of the most fascinating women I've ever met in my life. A woman who had a very interesting experience. A woman of a transgender experience. The one and only, the stunning Jessica Valerio.
Hi, Yuri.
Hey, baby.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
I'm so happy you came.
I'm really glad you invited me. It's great to see you.
You know what? My door is open for you anytime. I
Thank
love
you.
you dearly and truthfully.
Thank you. I love you too.
Aw, you look gorgeous.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing your friends with you.
Always. Got 'em, flaunt 'em.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are you wearing? Tell me.
Not much.
Actually, knowing you, I thought you were gonna wear less. To be honest.
I used to wear less, but I used to be less. I was so thin. That was
okay.
nice.
That's okay.
This is as slutty as I think people want to see me. So, yeah, it's a negligee set. Ex-girlfriend gave it to me.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wait, it's like dating a girl?
Oh,
You're dating a girl now?
Yeah, I know, like, once upon a time I used to only date men. And, you know, I have to keep my options open. Toxic masculinity is it's so real. Yeah.
That's why I love you. Honestly, with you, it's like every time, you're so open to everything. Every time I see you, it's always something new about you.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm behind and definitely need to learn from you. Listen, last time I had a sleepover with you,
Yeah.
it was 11 years ago.
Oh
You
my
were
God.
one of my best friends back then. You were so good to me and nice to me, and I really appreciate you for that. And to be honest with you, you were the first transgender person that I met in my life.
You know, I hear that a lot from people, actually, which it's interesting because, you know, I only transitioned like 12 years ago, about a year before we met. And you would not think that 12 years ago no one knew a trans person, but I regularly, and I didn't hear it at the time, but now that people know more than one trans person, sometimes, you know, my friends will come up to me and they'll say that exact same thing. They go, Jessica, you know, you really were the first one I knew. And it's great. It sometimes feels like pressure that, you know, I want to make sure that I'm representing my people in the right way. And then other times I don't care. And I actually feel like trans people each owe me $20 because I did a lot of work. And, you know.
It's like, to be honest with you, Jessica, for me, I never really, the reason why I wanted to have a sleepover with you is that, you know, we're in New York and I've met some, you know, transgender people, a few in my life. However, I never had a chance to ask them questions like, how was it for you? Like, how did you know? Because you always feel a little intimidated by that. It's like, I don't want to offend you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to have a sleepover with you and just have this, you know,
Sure.
one-on-one and kind
Sure.
of talk about that and, you know, raise awareness for other people.
I think that's a great issue that a lot of people face. You know, you meet someone, whether trans or anything that you don't know about, and you want to, you're curious. You also care about that person, perhaps, but you don't want them to think that, you know, you're entitled to that information. So, I mean, in my case, I know that I like when people don't ask me about trans-related things like before they say hello. But you'd be surprised. Some people ask before they even say hello. You
Like,
know,
what would they ask? Are you a transgender? Really?
I mean, when I was young and, you know, very attractive, I go to bars and, you know, guys would ask questions about my genitals real quickly.
Really?
Real quickly. And, you know, they have a multitude of reactions, none of which I think are really acceptable. They're either like grossed out, offended, or overly interested. And, you know, they're all kind of inappropriate. You know, it's like, let's get to know each other first, and then if I choose to tell you about my genitals, you know, we'll discuss what you think about it then. But
You know, it's funny you said that because when I met you, and now especially, you know, with those two and all, you know, I never thought of you as I always thought, and you are a girl,
Yeah.
you are, and I'm just, you know, mind my language and correct me if I'm wrong, but I never thought of you as of a transgender girl. I always thought of you as of a girl. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised that people would even, especially at the bar when they're like drinking and, you know,
Yeah.
out of their minds, people would actually recognize and they would know it.
it's one of many, many adjectives that people may have, you know, added on to them. Like, we're a lot of things. We're all complex. And even with being trans, it's an experience that most people can't and won't be able to relate to firsthand in their life. But at the end of the day, we're all still people. We have the same reactions to things. We have the same needs, emotions. So I don't think it should be the first thing we say about people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some people use trans as a noun. They're like, she's a transgender. A transgender what? It's an adjective, not a noun, you know? I'm not another type of human. I'm just a human who had a different experience.
So what do you like to, or would you prefer to be referred as? Just a woman, I'm assuming?
Sure. A lot of, whatever I am, a lot of things. I'm a woman of trans experience. I do like that phrase, because it says woman first,
Yeah.
you know? Even better if we just said human first, right?
I mean, with those two, it's like, obvious, that's the first thing. It walks through the doors.
You know, you gotta keep them coming, put butts in the seats. But we all have to do that. Even, you know, my needs to still be considered or attraction are the same as any other aging woman, you know? It's a hard business that we're in, and, you know, you gotta look good.
So that's beautiful. When I said a woman of a transgender experience, what does that mean to you? What was the transgender experience for you like?
In what capacity? There's so many ways to look at it from.
Well, when they say a woman of a transgender experience, what do they refer to? Like when they say people of a transgender experience, what is that? What kind of experience is that?
Okay, fair question. I would say that being of a trans experience just means that your brain was formed one way and your body was formed another, and you had issues with that. Those issues you may have never done anything about to this day. You may have gone as far as me and changed your body completely, or as much as my doctors will let me. But, you know, and anything in between. It's not an experience the majority of people have ever had or ever will, but we've always been there. We're a small percentage of the population, but we're a consistent percentage of the population. Just like gay people, just like, you know, having dark hair, you know, it's just a thing that's in our genetics, and some of us are brave enough in the tough society we live in to do something about it. Some of us, you know, need more encouragement, and some people may just not be willing. Those people need support as well. You know, I wouldn't wish this experience on my worst enemy in the type of climate that we're living in today. It's hard. It's hard. You will not find a trans person who's ever going to say it's easy. You're just going to find ones who choose not to focus on what makes it so hard and continue living their lives. That's what I've been trying to do.
That was just really, what you just said, that you do not wish to experience anyone else, it really made me sad.
Yeah.
Because you are, to me, one of the most bubbliest, personally, always funny and fun.
Yeah.
But what you're going through, what you've gone through, I never really asked you about this.
Sure.
And it's not something that I don't
Right.
really have any friends besides you with this experience.
Yeah.
And for me to have you said that, I mean, when you say I don't wish it on other people, what would you say was the experience what was the hardest thing for you to go through? What was the most difficult, challenging thing for you to overcome and
most
experience?
challenging?
Yeah, why would you say you never wish it for?
There's so many.
What would you like people to know? So
What would I like people to know?
So make it easier for people who transition.
Okay, well, you know, Maya Angelou has an amazing quote that Oprah requotes a lot, which is that when people show you who they are, you should believe them. And it's so simple, but the truth is most of what people say about who they are and their identity is true. People have too much of a need to be understood to keep their identities that secret. Most people are not that good at keeping their identities secret. So when someone's telling you who they are, you should, you know, respect that. And trans people have been consistently disrespected with their identity. When you misgender someone, when you deadname them, which is calling them the name that they no longer go by, it hurts on a level that I don't know how to convey to someone that can't have that experience. But it deeply hurts because you feel that, you know, all the strength that you've put into living your life authentically is considered garbage by someone. In just one quick comment, you could be walking down the street and, you know, some asshole just screams, "That's a man." You're like, really? Like, most people couldn't walk in our shoes for 2 feet, you know, but that's the biggest thing is the attack on our identities. I think if you let someone know that you respect them for who they are, their life, that's the only way you can blossom to your full potential.
I'm really glad we're having this conversation. I really hope that, you know, other people will hear the message, and it will, because for me, you have always been, you are a beautiful, smart,
Yes.
just, you know, crazy in the best way possible woman that I'm so happy to have in my life. You know?
Turning straight on me?
But so I'm just happy that we're having this conversation. I'm so sorry, you know, that you had to go through this experience. But how? Because, you know, what's really hard for me to still understand is every time I see you, you're just being the best friend, the best support, very strong woman. What gives you that strength?
Well,
like, where do
I don't want you to think it's a trans thing that makes me strong. That's a Jessica thing.
Okay.
And a lot of my strength is an act. I am an actress, and I come from a family of alpha dogs. And if you don't demand something, you're not going to get it. I'm raised by very shrewd Jewish New Yorkers, and there was no other way. There was none. If I wanted to be heard in my house, I had to be loud and clear and have my case, like, really thought out. So that's me. That's me. I think that, you know, if I had to have a purpose for being trans, and like I said, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but you have to turn lemons into lemonade. My purpose is to help other women and trans people who are two marginalized groups that I can relate with, to be more confident. I want to encourage them to be as strong as they can. I think in as much as you can understand someone else's experience, you should do your best to, you know, support.
Jessica, was it hard for you to make a decision, final decision to go for transition?
Oh my God.
And how did you decide to do so?
You know, if I realized I was trans today, I'm actually not sure I'd have the strength to do it today. And I'm stronger than I've ever been. But when you're young, at least for me, this was my case, I had this blind faith, blind hope, like this bubble I lived in, this beautiful little bubble. I miss it. Once it pops, it pops. But I lived in this bubble where I truly believed I could do what I want and things would work out. Maybe that's from being raised a white male in this society. I don't know, but
you're privileged.
and that, you know what? Absolutely, and we all need to recognize the privileges we had. I was raised a white male who thought I could do things, so I thought I could do it. I've been living as fuck being trans. I've been living as a woman for 11 years in a society that says women can't even do what we want. Being, you know, a trans woman of a certain age, you know, I don't have a lot of you know, encouragements to follow all my wild, crazy dreams. But when I was young, I thought I could do it. So I leapt into it not knowing what would happen. When we met, I was only a year into my transition. And although it worked out well, I probably made a lot of risky choices. I was hanging out with some interesting people in some interesting places. Not all were safe. But I guess being young is what taking chances is about.
I always learn from you about like sexual things. You're the one who's like,
I'm a slut.
taught me so.
Yeah.
I didn't
A
say
lonely
that.
slut these days, but
You're just a woman of experience, you know, all kind of experience. Let's put it this way.
yes, pointing out my age again, yes.
So what do you guys do career-wise?
Oh, career-wise. So these will soon be seen in my one-woman show called Late Bloomer. I would love to talk about this. So,
Okay.
I've been an actress my whole life, on and off. I was a child actor as a boy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't very successful, but for like 3 to 5 years, middle school and high school, I was semi-professional child actor. My mother was my like Mama Rose stage mother who take me into the city, and eventually it got to be a lot because I wasn't making her any money. And then I went to fashion school, I transitioned, and after fashion school, I wanted to become an actress again, but this time I'm living as a woman. And it wasn't just going from male to female, I also went from child to adult, and I had no idea how to be me on screen, how to, I just wasn't yet comfortable in who I was, and so I just didn't act for a really, really, really long time. And it's been 3 years now that I have it's called late bloomer because everything with me takes time.
Do you, so as an actress, do you recite, do you know like poetry? If I asked you to recite like Shakespeare, would you be able to do it for me? Like, you know?
I'm not smart. I'm an actress. No,
Okay.
I like musical theater.
Can you sing?
Can I, darling? Yes.
Like, can you sing for me like something right now? Like a couple of sentences. I don't know, something beautiful.
Can I give a little clip from my show?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a time in my life where I didn't really like what it meant to be Jewish. And
you're like all over Jewish, just all kinds of minorities. You're like the best person for this. You know?
I want to sing that today I'm a Jew, baby. I know this might sound crazy, but everything's coming up Israeli. Passover, holy days, gonna break out that old Seder plate. Starting here, starting now, honey, everything's coming up, Moses.
I love it. Oh, I love you so much.
Love you.
Let me give you a hug. You have something about you that just, you know, draws people's attention, I think.
Silicone?
Well, besides that, obviously. I do want to ask you something also, though. You traveled the world teaching English.
Yes. Okay, so I'll start how that started. I went to Burning Man back in 2010 for the first time. And like a lot of people who do drugs at Burning Man, I had a revelation. And
I like how spiritual you are.
Very spiritual. At least it was at the moment. And I decided I needed to travel. That was just something I was dying to do. I'm a Sagittarius, and I just felt I needed to travel. And I'd always wanted to go to Thailand. And I had heard that you could teach English overseas in countries like Thailand and live a pretty decent life and then travel a lot. And I had one friend, and he moved to Malaysia, and he went to teach English. He never came back.
Oh, my.
Yeah. He was a part of our friend group back
okay?
then. He's fine. He loved it. That was the way he loved it. Oh, my God. He loved it. He loved it. No, he was captured the end. Oh, we're terrible. He's still in jail, and we visited him some. No.
Oh, God. How long were you doing that for? That's so fascinating, by the way.
So, you know, I went to Thailand. I got my teaching English certificate in 3 weeks. 3 weeks after that, I was gone. I had one suitcase, a carry-on, my little certificate. I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't speak the language. I just went. And that was another example of things you do when you're young that I don't know if I could do that today. I really don't. I just was in that bubble, that protective bubble. And so I went, and it was great. But I actually do talk about it in my show. I have other songs about it. I have other songs about it. But, you know, I thought that Thailand in particular was this haven for trans people.
Okay.
They have so many trans women there.
Yeah, that's what I heard about Thailand. It's like a capital of the world for transgender community.
They are there. They are largely safe and healthy, and they are respected, but they're respected in their place in society. And I didn't really like what I learned about was a trans person's place, and it's pretty limited. It was a pretty limited place to be in, and that was very frustrating. But
I'm glad you touched on this subject. I wasn't sure if I was going to ask you this or not, but you know, since we're having this, sleepover and whatnot. A lot of people, unfortunately, associate transgender community and transgender people with sex and sex, industry, and a lot of people don't take transgender people as, seriously.
Yeah.
What would you have to say about that?
I have very strong opinions about that. And once again,
I'm sure
I don't.
you do.
Well, I don't think it's even just trans people. I think trans people, particularly trans women, get the brunt of judgment on their purpose in this world and why it's about our genitals. But the truth is, some people are just too body focused overall.
Yeah.
Like, a man is only a man if he has a penis. A woman's only a woman if she can reproduce. And I think it's one of the most harmful things to our society that we focus on the body and not the soul and the spirit. I don't want to sound like, Marianne Williamson or
You spent
something.
too much time in Asia, girl, okay?
Maybe I did, but there's some things I think they have right. And they see, at least the Buddhists and Hindus see the soul before the body, and I think they have that part right. What does a body say about who you are anyway? No one controls the bodies that we live in. Why should we judge each other based on our bodies?
Well, some people, it's interesting. The next sleepover I'm going to have, we're going to talk about the body image and.
Will we be naked for it?
I mean, we'll see if that. I'll work on that.
It's theme appropriate.
But for me, I feel like a lot of people, and the reason why I wanted to have you here, because I want to share you with everyone, because you're so special. You're so.
Which parts?
I want to share, not the soul part. You're just so when I say you're fascinating, I'm not just saying to say it.
Yeah.
I really think you are. I truly think you are, Jessica. And a lot of people I just know, and for me personally, before I met you, even though I'm gay, think that transgender people may be just freaks or perverted, or it's just all about sex.
Yeah.
And it's I'm trying to get what a transgender person really is.
Yeah.
What's the
I'd like to
true
address
reason
those
behind
stereotypes
it?
for a second, because it reminds me a lot of the propaganda that we saw during the Holocaust. I'm getting so Jewish right now. But a lot of that propaganda, like Hitler and his people would show pictures of Jews living poor because he put them in poor places, but he would be like, look how poor they are, or look how dirty they are. It's like, well, bitch, you did that to them. I think it's the same with all disenfranchised groups. People want to look at the sad things that trans people do, but we have done those sad things because we have had no choice. So let's try lifting us up like a good bra.
That is true. I feel like, if anything, the transgender community needs protection, needs support,
Yes.
but not judgment. Because right now it's judged.
And governmental law on our sides.
Are they not yet? What's going on with that? Because I'm sorry, I'm ignorant when it comes to that, unfortunately.
I try to ignore most of the news altogether these days, but it's a little hard. That's the dream.
What is the law? Where is the law? Because I said, I don't even know.
I am no expert. I don't know the prop this, or I don't know the numbers of all of them. But I definitely see a lot of back and forth with law, which is kind of terrifying. It's almost more scary not knowing if something you're doing is illegal than knowing it's illegal. It's like it can change at any moment. But the bottom line is, by nature of who trans people are, we need more legal thought to our lives than the average person. We have to change our name and gender. Why we have gender on so many documents to begin with is kind of baffling to me. Why do you need to know someone's gender, when you're driving, for example?
I would tell you why, but I don't want to get criticized for that afterwards. All that is fascinating. And you're right. My question was also always, the gay marriage was, when was it?
2015? Yeah, Obama, 2015. when it was totally legal in the country.
Yeah, but the transgender community, let me just correct me if I'm wrong. The transgender community, so if a person is transgender, like a man became a woman, so it's still a person in the LGBTQ community, but if a man became a woman physically,
yes.
so that woman can marry a man, right? Before the gay marriage was allowed. How did that work?
Well, you need the physical to get the legal. You need the legal, you need to be legally female. So, and there's many documents to do that. So yes, like I believe today, because I am completely legally female, I can marry a man.
The question is where to find a man. That's the question.
That's a much better question. Yes. Jessica, can you marry a man? I don't know. Can you get me a date? Like I'm so not up to the marriage part.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why you started dating women now, you said.
Yeah. They're
Is
there.
that really because
They're
you can't find a
accepting.
man?
They
Or?
have great taste in lingerie. Yeah. She knew my size.
Okay.
She knew my color.
Yuri, it's time to go to sleep.
Thank you, Alexa.
You're welcome.
My Alexa is a woman of transgender experience, by the way.
God bless.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she told you that because my Alexa lies constantly.
Oh, she does?
She doesn't answer direct questions.
Oh, you want to also talk to your Alexa?
Yeah, definitely
all the time.
female because she doesn't answer direct questions.
Oh, this Alexa is known as Alexi.
Oh, how you
She
doing?
wants to go to sleep.
All right, Alexa, thank you. That's just like it's a new version, like it's like a smart, smart intellect or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. Sometimes it talks without me even asking questions. Yeah, but I love her. She means well. You know what I mean? She means well. Well, Jessica, I guess she's gonna turn the lights off soon. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep now. I have a lot to digest. That was more than I expected.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some tea. But listen, I just want to say that I love you dearly. I'm so happy you came over. I'm so happy you talked about the things we talked about, and I really hope that, and I know that people need to know that, because things that should be obvious and are obvious for most people, like especially for you, unfortunately not obvious for a lot of people. And I hope that after people see you, how wonderful you are, and that you are a person with a great heart and big soul, first of all, before any sin. Hopefully people will be more acceptable and tolerant towards everyone.
Yeah.
And on this note, let me give you a hug. Oh, I love you so much. I love you. I love you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. We'll just sleep on the couch because I just moved in and there's no bed.
Okay.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Alexa.
Night, guys.
Good night.